Hello and welcome to the Subculture. I'm your host Jared.
And I'm Edwina.
And if you listen to this is our Once More We're Feeling series on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Today, Eddie, we're doing Season 6, Episode 5, Life Serial. This episode first aired October 23rd, 2001, written by David Fury and Jane Espenson, and directed by Nick Mark. Over to you, Eddie.
All right, this is a full spoiler podcast. I'm a huge fan, but Jared has never watched the series all the way through, and I'm trying to convince him it's worth his time.
Oh, that's nice. Well, this was a not bad episode. I kind of like this one. Yeah, a bit more upbeat, the wacky sort of episode.
Yeah, definitely. I was going to say, do you know why it's called Life Serial?
Is it meant to be a play on the what's a reality show called
The Surreal Life.
Surreal Life? Maybe no.
There's actually a breakfast cereal called Life Serial.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's
Yeah, but that's cereal as in serialized,
okay. All right.
not cereal as in the cereal you eat.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. All right. Cool. That's pretty deep. All right. So Eddie, what was it like rewatching this episode?
This is a surprisingly fun episode, and it has this great balance of humor with darker undertones. So, yeah, it's an arc episode, and Season 6 is widely known for its exploration of, sort of the darker sides, or, it's known for being darker and more adult themes, and Life Serial definitely contributes to that narrative of Buffy's depression and trying to find her sense of purpose or lack thereof.
Mm-hmm.
That pretty much is part of growing up. It also kind of marks a turning point in Buffy's journey in accepting her new reality and highlighting the messy processes of growing up and finding yourself. And you know what? It's the trio's antics and those bizarre scenarios that she's sort of put through create sort of this layer of satire that pokes fun of both the mundane aspects of being an adult and the adult life and geek culture they embody as well.
I think it's also mocking the mythological sort of aspects of the show as well, where they're using all these weird rituals to annoy her.
Yes.
Like, they're not really trying to kill her, they're just annoying her and interrupting all aspects of her life for no real gain.
Yeah, they are kind of blurring those lines of fantasy and reality. I think that's a good way of putting it.
And I think, I guess we'll talk about this later, but with the final demon, the guy comes out dressed like a horned demon with the wings coming out.
Like a stereotypical demon that you would see in a book.
But it looked like a character you'd see in the show, though.
Yeah. Yes.
It didn't look that far-fetched. It looked pretty ridiculous. Like, it almost looked like a Power Ranger villain.
Yeah. But it was literally a stereotypical demon. Like what you like you say someone go draw a demon. That's what they're going to draw.
Horns, wings,
red,
yeah.
Yeah,
So.
hooved cloven feet.
Yeah, I got to say I kind of feel like they carried the episode, the trio.
Yeah,
like their
little arguments all the way through. I think every nerd, we do a podcast because of it.
Yeah, it felt like a comment section in Reddit or something. Who's a better
Bond
James
villain?
Bond, who's a better Bond?
And Jared, who's your favourite Bond?
Oh, it's not really the favourite. It's who's the best, and it's quite obviously who's the best.
Well, who's the best?
It's Roger Moore.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Pierce Brosnan.
Wow. Actually, no, I think we're both wrong. I think it's Daniel Craig. But I'd say up to that point. Sorry, I was thinking up to that point where they were arguing. So, yeah, Daniel Craig was he on the scene? No, he wasn't. No. But Pierce Brosnan was, so funny that you mention him. Though his one's got kind of ridiculous towards the end.
Well, they had to mention Timothy Dalton because he's the worst one. So it was just funny that one of the nerds thinks he's the best one.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to get into the summary, Eddie?
Yep,
Seems like we've sort of skipped it. All right, quickly do it. We'll get back to it, all right?
Yeah.
Buffy returns from a meeting with Angel, unwilling to share details. The Scoobies discuss her uncertain future, and she decides to attend some college classes with Willow and Tara until the next semester starts. Meanwhile, the trio prepares for their competition to test Buffy, equipping the van with surveillance tech. They argue when Andrew paints a Death Star decal on the van, which isn't very low-key. Buffy, overwhelmed by a class at UC Sunnydale, joins Tara for her art appreciation. Before class starts, Warren plants a device in her, causing her to move in slow motion while the world speeds up around her. Dazed, Buffy eventually finds and destroys the device, returning things to normal. Buffy decides to find a job. Xander gets her a spot on his construction crew, but her super strength and efficiency clashes with the team's pace. The trio summons demons to attack the site. Buffy defeats them, but gets fired by Xander for bringing her Slayer duties to work. Buffy then reluctantly takes up Giles' offer to work at the Magic Box. Jonathan casts a time loop spell on her. Stuck in a loop with a troublesome customer and a cursed mummy hand, Buffy struggles until she finally breaks the loop by promising a special delivery. Though she completes the sale, Anya docks her pay and Buffy quits in frustration. Later, Buffy gets drunk with spite and rants about her failing life. While investigating, they spot the trio's van, which has been present at all of her recent troubles. A demon confronts Buffy, but she defeats it with a drunken kick. The demon turns back into Jonathan when he escapes to the van. Back at home, Buffy vents to Giles about her struggles. He offers her a check for financial support, and while she feels reassured by his presence, Giles' expression turns concerned as he leaves. The end. All right, Eddie, so picking up where you left off.
Well, I was just going to talk more about the trio.
They're a lot of fun.
Well, yeah, they are definitely a lot of fun, but they're very different to the other big bads that we've had in the
they're not
in
your
the past.
typical mustache-twirling villain with a plan to take over the world. Like they're saying they're going to take over Sunnydale, but it's not really a cynical plan or that at this point.
But they do know that Buffy's going to be an obstacle for whatever plans they have. She's going to be an obstacle.
They don't have plans. They have more of a concept of a plan, was it?
Yes. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And the other thing I wanted to bring up, that the episode does kind of, I think, hold up and would resonate with viewers today, particularly in regards to that sort of the gig economy is what they call it, where or the quarter life crisis and, feeling a bit out of sync with life expectations.
Okay.
And I think that really does resonate today.
So what examples in the show would you say are the gig economy?
Like just trying to find, it's hard to find a good job.
Okay.
A stable job. A job that makes you happy. Like it's more about being out of sync with life expectations.
Okay. But the gig economy is more like Uber Eats.
Yeah, it's like
those type of jobs.
Yeah. But it's the fact that is sort of now becoming more prevalent.
Well, it didn't exist back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. But it's more prevalent to have those kind of jobs while you're trying to find your life purpose of a job, which is what Buffy was doing, was that she was just trying to find something in the meantime.
And they just let her back on campus?
Well, I looked into this, and I'll get to that. We'll get to that in a minute, because I had to look up what auditing classes was. Like, it seemed like a very weird concept to me.
Okay.
Hold
that thought. Yep.
The way that I actually wanted to structure my talking points for this episode is actually the way that the episode is structured, because it has this very particular 4-act structure. So you have a very, and then you've got your intro and conclusion. There's no A plot, B plot, C plot. Like, you kind of are always following Buffy, and then you and the geeks are within that scene kind of moving on the plot, so to speak. So you get the, intro where her friends pretty much are saying, so what are you going to do now? Like, they haven't really given her much time to kind of get used to being back either. Like, she's sort of getting thrown in the deep end.
Well, she took off abruptly and then she's back and...
Yeah. So you go Act 1, Buffy goes to college. Act 2, Buffy becomes a construction worker. Act 3, Buffy works retail. Act 4, Buffy gets drunk with Spike and defeats the trio. And the conclusion, Giles gives her money till she works her shit out, pretty much.
Do we know how much he gave her?
No.
No?
It doesn't say. So I figure, we'll break down the episode via each act test
Okay. All right. I like this. Yeah.
path. Going a bit different this time.
That's all right.
So the intro. So Buffy gets back from seeing Angel and pretty much doesn't talk about what happened. And we don't see what happened. And when I first saw this, because Angel is running parallel with this series
you thought it was
at
a
the time,
crossover?
I thought it was a crossover and we would see what happened in the Angel episode. Not the case, because they are now on different networks and it is much harder to do crossover episodes.
Did the Angel character leave the show abruptly to see? Oh,
Yes.
so they both left their own show
Yep.
to go see each other. So I guess it's just all in our head what went down. Maybe they made love?
Well, they can't because
Oh,
Angel has a
so that's reset now. He still can't have happiness.
no.
Okay.
But so I think there is a comic that does actually say what happens.
Okay.
But I've never bothered
Is
reading
it an official comic or like a...
Yeah, I think Jane Espenson wrote it.
Okay.
So it is canon.
All right.
But I have no idea what it's about. I've never read it.
They met up, they talked, they fought a demon and left.
Who knows? Who knows? Anyway, I was just disappointed because I really thought you would see it on Angel. Like, it is set up like it's a crossover episode. And then there's no crossover episode.
Maybe they were intending to do it, but they couldn't decide whose network it'd be on if they both left individually.
Well, I think Buffy still needed a proper, like, they didn't get a proper crossover because Angela had appeared in an episode of season 5, but then Buffy there hadn't been too many crossover episodes.
Yeah, but like if they go individually, then they probably couldn't decide whose show it would be. Would it be the Buffy or the Angel show?
I think they were owing. Angel is owed a crossover at this point.
Okay, all right. So, but maybe that was a issue. Maybe they planned to do it, but no one would budge, and then they just sort of fuck it, we won't do it.
Yeah.
Maybe
It was
I don't know.
Too difficult.
Too difficult. Too hard basket.
Yeah. So they've just didn't do it.
Yeah.
And then you get this like little snide bratty comment from Dawn, and a nice little sign of things to come, which is the whatever. And then you get to the crux of the episode, and it's pretty much Giles and the Scoobs are like, so what are you going to do with your like, what are you going to do now? She's only thinking of her current money issues. So she's like, I'm going to hold off paying the plumber and and then I'm going to pay this and do like, she's thinking money wise what she's going to do. And they're like, oh no, like, what are you going to do with your life? So it's sort of that thing where they really didn't let her have a lot of time to get over being dead. Like they haven't.
Yeah, get over yourself.
Like let her kind of sort herself out.
So were they more talking philosophical? What are you going to do with your life?
Well, what is she going to do? Is she going to go get a job? Is she going to go back to college? Like, what is she going to do? Just sit around all day doing nothing and just...
Well, she can now. She got all that money from Giles, I'd imagine.
Well, you don't know how much Giles gave to her, but we will talk about that. This is the episode where pretty much she has to decide what she's doing. And no one has really given her room to breathe. So...
Yeah.
Then we get into... So Buffy says that she was always planning on going back to college, but she's missed the cutoff and it's too early for early admission and too late for late admission or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So Tara and Willow say, you can audit classes. And so I looked up what auditing classes is.
And what are they? I'm hanging on this to find out what the fuck they are.
Auditing classes means auditing a course allows a student to take a class without the benefit of a grade or credit for a course. A student who audits a course does so for the purposes of self-enrichment and academic exploration.
So you're basically saying you're a student but not a student.
Yeah.
You're just trying out classes to see if you're going to like it.
Yeah.
So you haven't enrolled. Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, it seems a bit...
Well, auditing...
So what? So you go to class and then you don't do any of the assignments, is that...
Well, I guess it's for that person who's come in halfway through the year so that they can't really pass anything because they haven't done all the work. You just kind of sit around and learn from the class and start from scratch next year, maybe?
Yeah.
Something like that?
I don't know.
Maybe just get you into the rhythm of it?
To me, it seems a little bit pointless.
Yeah.
Mainly because, yeah, as you said, because courses are generally structured in a way so that you can't come in 3 months in and know what's going on, which is exactly what happens to her. She jumps into this class. They're in like this rhythm. And I'm like, her brain hasn't been programmed for this class yet and this rhythm and these,
These kids are just talking absolute gibberish to each other. I have no
Yeah.
idea what they're saying.
Yeah, but it's that thing where they didn't start off that way. Like it's something that's been grown and developed, that kind of interaction. Like it doesn't just happen.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I'm just like, oh, it seems a bit counterintuitive, like counteractive to
Counterproductive.
counterproductive, yeah. Definitely counterproductive going to, because all it did was overwhelm her.
Yeah.
And make her think that she was stupid.
Stupid is, stupid does, Mrs. Blue.
All right, now we'll talk about Act 1. Buffy goes back to college and the evil lint speeds up time.
Evil lint.
Lint.
Yeah, with a camera on it.
Yeah, it's this tiny little dot. Like this tiny little dot. I'm like, how on earth did he create that?
Technology.
So I actually
he built a robot, so that's pretty much a step down for him.
Yeah, true. I probably think this is actually the weakest of the tests because you don't really get an explanation on how Buffy is perceived.
Well,
like she's perceiving everyone being really fast around her, but does that mean she's just standing there super still?
Well, she has a conversation with Tara, is it?
Yeah.
And mid-conversation stops and then she's on the other side of the room. So for Tara, was she just standing there motionless? And she just walked away and just left her there?
I'm guessing that, but it would have been good to see it from Tara's perspective. But why Tara didn't get like concerned with the fact that she
wasn't
just
moving?
that she was just staring at a book in a hallway for like quite a long amount of time.
For the time it took her to walk across the room and leave her.
Yeah. And Tara just walks away.
Yeah.
And it doesn't come up to her going, oh, Buffy, are you okay? Like,
God, what is your childhood trauma?
So yeah, then the next one is Act 2, Buffy works construction and gets attacked by demons. So Buffy, I guess, she decides she probably can't handle college because of that one. She literally goes to one class, gets fucked with and is like, nah, I'm done. I'm too dumb for this. And then she manages to pull some strings and Xander gets her a job on the construction site, which I don't actually see happening because that seems like something that would take a couple of days to get someone in to work like that.
Probably not. If Xander's like a foreman on the site and he knows he can get her just to carry I-beams everywhere over her shoulder. I mean, just an extra hand. Yeah, it's something I can do. Yeah, I could do it if I could get someone a day's work, short notice. Yeah.
All right.
I actually remember watching this episode, and I remember the sexism she was getting from the other construction workers, and I was like, "Come on, that's a bit much.
Yeah.
Guys wouldn't do that." And then one of the guys told her to slow down because they're getting paid by the hour.
Now that was more, and you're like,
okay,
oh yeah,
that probably happened. Yeah.
So you're saying she wouldn't get picked on for being a girl, or like getting all the she must be on her period.
Yeah,
must be
that
time
comment does come up.
But you say that to another guy, don't you? He must be on his period. Yeah.
Say it to guys all the time. But yeah, working too hard, working too quick on a union site's never a good idea.
Yeah. What was the other thing that you were going on about?
Oh yeah, well, one of my pet peeves, the character Vince, and
Vince.
One of my pet peeves on construction sites, and I really can't stand seeing this, and I see it all the time. Guys wearing their fucking hard hats back to front.
Yeah, that kind of seems a bit pointless.
Yeah, it's probably not what it's designed for, and it's just a fucking hard hat. Like, I'm not sure what attitude you bring in by wearing your hard hat back to front. Like, I get the whole baseball cap thing. That looks pretty cool doing that. And
defeats the purpose of a baseball
beret
cap.
back to front, or, you can wear that forward if you want. You can wear it backwards. You can wear it to the side, But it's just a fucking hard hat. Like, there's nothing cool about wearing a hard hat, and you're not making it look cool by wearing it backwards. I really don't get that one. Yeah, so that
Yeah,
was
because you
Vince
got
doing
that weird plastic strap that goes
Yeah,
on
you
the
got the
back of your
plastic
neck.
strap like struck over your face and on your forehead. It's meant to go at the back of your head to hold
Wouldn't
it in
there be
place.
like occupational health and safety things about?
Yeah,
wearing your
I've
hard
often
hat
thought about
back on?
that, but I've never seen anyone ever say that.
Okay.
Like
So you've actually seen men wearing
multiple men, yeah,
Okay.
not just one guy. And funny, I thought maybe it was just an Australian thing, and maybe a more recent thing. But seeing it happen in 2001 in America, I'm like, oh, okay. Well, maybe they started it. I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, if you want to look cool on a work site, just don't fuck with the guy with his safety hat on backwards. I don't get that one.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But the one thing that I noticed in this, Buffy does seem to actually really like working this construction job.
It seemed like she was having fun with it. To be out of all the jobs she had, all the things she did, it seemed to be the only one she seemed to enjoy.
She was actually upset when Xander fired her.
Hmm.
Like she was actually like, "Oh, it's not my like." It was one of those another thing that she loses because
of who she is. Yeah, the cost of being a Slayer. Can't even work in construction.
Yeah, and it's that unfair thing where like as you said, it's the trio. They're literally just fucking with her at this point, and they send 3 demons.
I mean, to be fair, if it wasn't them, it would probably happen anyway. So
At some point,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So,
Though she was never attacked on campus other than by
yeah, school, campus, yeah, she gets
Yeah.
attacked everywhere.
She gets attacked everywhere.
Yeah, nowhere safe for her.
No, but yeah, and then Xander's pretty much, no, you're out of here. Like you don't get to bring that shit to my job.
Yeah, which is a bit sad because she's like,
He's
says
the
the
one.
forces of darkness,
He
but-
is the one who has been forcing himself into her slaying for years, and then she gets 5 minutes in his world, and he's like, "Nah, you don't get to be in my normal world."
It seems cruel, but if he's responsible for people, and he knows that when she's there, things are drawn to her.
Yeah.
He's responsible for those guys to go home every day and not get, clobbered by a demon.
Yeah.
So if you want to look at it from that perspective, it's a hard decision he had to make. So
Yeah, out of all of them, it's the one that cuts the deepest.
it's the one I think it suited her. She looked pretty good with the utility tool belt hanging on the side of her, to be honest. Yeah. And the hard hat on.
Yeah. And we'll talk about the horn. I think this is when they accidentally knock the horn on the van.
Oh, and it's the Star Wars theme.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a Star Wars theme. And prior to that, there was a mural that he was painting on the side.
Death Star 2.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Very, very inconspicuous.
I don't
not.
know. Any black van kind of looks conspicuous.
Yeah, but I actually think a white van are probably less conspicuous.
Yeah.
Because you see thousands of white vans around. A black van kind of sticks out, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
A guy in a white van just...
It's every delivery truck.
Yeah. So, and a little goof I saw when I think Warren's looking out with the binoculars. You can see the camera crew in the reflection in the binoculars.
They didn't have HD back in the day. So.
I think you still would have seen it though. It was pretty prominent.
yeah.
I was kind of looking for it actually. I'm thinking whenever I see a mirror or a window on screen, I always look to see if you can see any of the crew in it because it's usually something they miss.
Yeah. So anyway, moving on. We get to Act 3. Buffy works retail and a time loop. Now I absolutely love a time loop.
This is a good one.
episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a big sucker for a time loop episode. And the trio even mention a few episodes of TV that have used this trope, such as TNG and The X-Files.
Yes, they did. Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm gonna make some other notable examples of a time loop that did great time loop episodes. Were Xena,
Didn't see that one. I'll take your word for it.
Stargate.
I saw that one. Yeah.
Yep. And
That was actually a good one. Yeah.
yeah, and Stargate Atlantis also did it.
Okay. Yeah.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. did it.
I missed that one.
And The Magicians also do a really great time
I
loop
missed
episode.
that one too. I don't know.
You've
that
never
one.
watched The Magicians.
Is that with Radcliffe?
Hmm?
Is that with Daniel Radcliffe?
No, it's a TV show.
He's not in that though.
No.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I think this is probably the best.
Yeah.
the best test that they put her through.
I don't know. It always seems to work, the time loop episode, though, doesn't it? It seems.
You know what? It's the fact that there's always a puzzle that they've got to figure out, and they've got, so many times that they can do it. But yeah, that I love there's
or
a
the
puzzle.
groundhog, I suppose, the Groundhog Day
episode
people always refer to.
Yeah.
Were they the first ones to do it? Was that the first time anyone did it?
I don't know.
Because I always think to that, and the thing
I
is,
swear there must have been like a Twilight Zone episode or something done prior, and Groundhog Day just we got a name for it.
But what I like, and just going a bit of a tangent here, because they invented it, they didn't really give any rules for it.
Yeah.
No one told him. No spirit came out saying you must have the best day of your life before this curse is lifted or anything stupid like that. It just happens to him. No explanation why. Because it's like a normal world episode movie. There's nothing. It's not in a fantasy sci-fi. Nothing like that. Yeah. So this is like completely out of nowhere for the characters involved. And at the end of the day, he doesn't. I noticed when they promoted the film on TV, they kept saying, "Oh, he must repeat the same day until he figures it out how it's until he gets it right or something like that."
Yeah.
But he's never told that. There's never been an explanation. But in the end, he just tried to make the best day ever.
Yeah.
And that stopped it. And I've noticed other times when other shows and other movies have done it, they've always given a reason why and a reason to undo it. They've always given the law of it, which I don't like. And I can think kind of like Fight Club, the invisible friend.
Yeah.
Now, Fight Club cheated on that.
Yeah.
Where other shows do the Fight Club imaginary friend, they don't cheat. They show the audience clues.
Yeah.
That there is an invisible character. So what I'm saying is, like, the first one to do it, don't set any rules for it or any laws, but then the laws sort of come into it that people think, oh, but you have to explain it. But I don't think you have to. I think it's fine without it, and I think they did it the best. Anyway, that was my rant.
What? Groundhog Day did the best.
Well, no, I'm just saying that, the not setting the rules for it. Like, it's interesting that the first ones to do it didn't set any rules for it, but the rules came after when other people replicated the idea or copied.
Yes.
Yeah.
Copied. Or no, the moment it gets turned into a trope. Like the tropes have rules.
Yeah, but they didn't adhere to any rules. The originals didn't, which is interesting.
You do not talk about Fight Club.
So anyway, you get her trying to work out the riddle, so to speak, of how to continue the day. And this is also a great, like, if you have ever worked retail, this is a great metaphor for how your day feels when you work retail. Because like a 4-hour shift feels like 10 hours. Like, it is probably one of the most boringest jobs ever.
I wonder if I could just give a counter argument to that, because you haven't done retail for such a long time.
I know, but I remember being so like, I loved the times, but there were certain shifts that I'd like working because I knew that there was like
busy.
Like, no, it was
something to do.
There was when the new stock would come in, so you'd have to stock shelves. I loved those days because I was like, oh my God, thank God there was something to do other than just stand there.
Yeah. So, as I was going to counter that, maybe today would be a little better because you do have a phone you can sort of look at if you're sitting at the counter waiting for people and stuff. But
yeah,
maybe
probably. You're probably right, but then a lot of those places have rules about, oh, you're not allowed to have your phone out.
Yeah, but if you're like, there's only 2 people in the store and there's no one there, I'm sure you can get away with it. Anyway, go on.
True. But yeah, as I said, it's a good metaphor for what it's actually like working in retail. And Buffy working at the Magic Box also is a bit of a bit of symbolism for the monotonous nature of adulthood and the difficulties of finding one's path.
Guess it is.
I'm trying to think, anything you wanted to say about that?
The mummy hand.
Oh, the mummy hand could have been a daddy hand.
Could have been a daddy hand.
It's kind of hairy.
It looked kind of like a male, didn't it? Like, and it's
putting
its fingers up like a spider
it looked like
too.
A spider. It
putting its fangs up like
creeps
that.
Me out.
I read. I don't know if this is true. It might have it was a reference to a Monty Python sketch, the
Yeah.
parrot one.
Yeah.
I watched the parrot one. I think there was just one line that this parrot
Well,
was dead.
this whole episode is kind of like put together like a bunch of skits.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah. Buffy in college, Buffy in construction, Buffy in retail,
Yes.
Buffy drunk.
Drunk Buffy. Yeah, so after the time loop episode and she finally works it out and does a delivery but forgets to charge for the delivery. And Anya is straight away, we'll just take it out of your pay.
Oh, God, you fucking bitch.
Illegal.
You bitch.
You actually are not allowed to do that. Yes. So she just up and leaves.
Yeah.
Says, okay, and leaves. And then by this stage, she is done. She is done. She knows someone is fucking with her. So she, of course, goes to Spike. And she is there getting drunk with Spike. And that is Act 4. Buffy gets drunk with Spike and defeats the trio. Sort of.
Well, at this point, she's not even aware of the trio, so yeah.
Yeah. So as much as I love the time loop, Buffy getting drunk with Spike and playing kitten poker is probably the best part of this episode. Yeah, her drinking and making those every single time she does a shot.
I've heard you make those noises before too. And I don't mean it in like some weird sexual way or anything like that.
It also seems like a symbol of another path that Buffy could take, and that is she focuses on her slaying, where she just becomes a slayer and perhaps, is more in the shadows and living life more on the darker side, so to speak. Perhaps getting by doing petty crime.
More like a homeless person, like a Rorschach sort of character.
And not taking a traditional role in society that she doesn't necessarily feel that she fits into anymore. And after the day she's had, she does not feel like she can fit in. So anyway, like she sees the van again, and they're too busy arguing about the best James Bond.
Yes.
And they don't notice that she's walking towards the van.
Just on that, George Lazenby doesn't get a mention.
Who?
Her Majesty's Secret Service. But you got married in that one.
Nah.
Can I tell you a little story about that? Apparently, when they hired that actor, he was Australian, to play James Bond. Apparently, they were worried that he was gay.
Okay.
So apparently, they hired a woman to seduce him to make sure he wasn't gay.
All right.
That's some sort of urban legend.
Okay.
Yeah, gross.
Yeah, that's a bit.
I think he passed.
That's like crossing quite a few boundaries. Yeah. Anyway, Buffy sees the van and they just managed to do this very rough spell. And
With his monkey bone.
Yeah, with his bone.
His monkey
My
bone.
magic bone.
Magic bone or monkey
I
bone?
thought it was magic bone.
That was a monkey bone.
Oh, I think they say magic bone.
Okay, sorry.
Jonathan, grab your magic bone.
And this kind of feels like them going on a date when he takes her to the bar to play kitten poker.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, like
And she's just squeaking out of the bottle, by the way.
yes. Doesn't she just grab a bottle from behind the counter as well? Like,
I think
she finishes all of his drinks.
I think the guy puts it on the counter, and then she just grabs it and just starts drinking it. Yeah. Straight.
Oh no, he pours a glass and then she takes the bottle.
Yeah.
And then she's just like, I'm not getting into a bar fight. She's hilarious in the scene, drunk Buffy. And you don't see drunk Buffy very often. You've probably seen her once, and there were dire consequences in Beer Bad.
Oh, the Beer Bad one, yeah.
Yeah, dire consequences. Like, there's not a lot of drinking in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and it's always deemed as you're in the wrong. Like, there's something really wrong with you if you're drinking. It's a bad thing in this universe, to be drinking.
Leads to bad consequences.
Yes, there's always consequences to your drinking.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, anyway, she's hilarious in the scene, and she pretty much confesses to to Spike that, he's the only person that she can stand at the moment, which means she's obviously kind of unhappy with her friends at the moment.
Yeah.
And their expectations of her, because obviously that day was all about trying to please them, not herself.
And she let them all down.
Yeah. But she was also being fucked with, so it's probably not a great... Anyway, she eventually sees the van and defeats the trio, sort of. They kind of con her into thinking she defeated
Yeah, the demon guy just comes out.
and does a very, we have been testing you all day. We know your strengths and weaknesses. She kind of fumbles it and then kicks him in the chest and then kind of throws a smoke bomb and runs away.
Yeah.
And then you get the conclusion, and it's, Buffy very disillusioned with everything, kind of confesses to Giles, how bad the day actually was. And he gives her a check. And then she takes it, but Giles, I think she kind of says, it's great having you back and having you here. It feels like having Mum around again. And she kind of mentions her absentee dad, and he sort of has this weird look on his face, like, she's becoming too reliant on me. But I will say, having all of those different settings, like the construction site, college, magic box, etc., was a good attempt to symbolise Buffy's, trying to find her place and where she fits in the world again. It was also a way of ruling out, it was also a way of, for the writers, to rule out the easy options for her. Because all of those options were an easy handed to her kind of option.
Yeah.
So now she has to find something that she's got to actually work for.
Yeah.
So...
Okay, so that's the 4 acts there.
Yes. Was there anything that you wanted to...
I got a couple of little things I want to mention. The actor plays Clement. Do we see that character? Clem, is it?
Yeah.
So we see him more often. I recognise that character. Yeah, okay.
I don't know why, because you don't think that he's great friends with Spike in this, but then he comes in as a good friend of Spike's.
Was it maybe he got sort of a good test audience thing, and I thought, well, people kind of like this character, let's bring him back?
I actually think Joss Whedon probably just got along well with the actor.
Okay.
And decided
his drinking buddy.
Yeah.
Bring him back. Hey, why not? The character's good enough. So the cat scene. So I did some reading about that, and he said this, actually having to deal with 12 kittens on a table when for some of the scene we were raised above the floor to get proper eye line, so the table was about 2 feet off the ground and the kittens kept trying to crawl off the table. You wouldn't want them to fall, so you were in the middle of this dialogue scene trying to remember your lines and not look at the camera, and you're like, oh, there goes a kitten, there we go. So it was an effort to try and wrangle the kittens and keep them on the table. It was so crazy because there are 12 to 14 of them that we could just keep interchanging all day long on the set. Meow, meow, meow. Cut. We have kittens meowing. They were from the SPCA, the Society for Protection and Cruelty to Animals. So everyone on set wanted to take one home. I can't. My wife's allergic to cats, so that solved the problem.
Aww. They could have gotten smaller kittens because they don't crawl away.
Yeah, but you want them to look up and meow a little bit.
I guess.
Yeah, not have the eyes closed and just sort of sit there and not moving.
Yeah.
Had to move a little bit.
Yeah. I know. I think it's working with cats is always a difficult thing.
Cats, it's kids and animals. It's
a
big no-no to work with.
Particularly cats because because when you're filming a scene, it's not always shot in order, and cats like to move around. It's very difficult to film. Yeah. All right. Had you seen this episode?
Yeah. I said before. Did I say? I think I said it before.
I think you did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the whole episode or just bits of it?
Like I said, I remember the construction scene. I actually don't remember the other scenes. I just remember the construction one, to be honest. Right. Yeah. Oh, maybe the Star Wars scene was in it. Yeah. So that was, Yep.
And did you go down any rabbit holes?
I wanted to mention the actor who played Vince, the Mexican guy.
Yeah.
Latino guy. Noel Guillermi. This guy's been in like so many movies. It's unbelievable. He's been in like 200.
But just like a background.
Yeah, usually as a gangster, like a Latino gangster. I'm talking like over 200 credits he's got.
Wow. So he's like a career background.
And he 8 times he's played a character called Hector.
Oh no, he wasn't in like Walking Dead, was he?
Yeah, he was, yeah.
Was he Hector in Walking Dead? Because there's a Mexican guy. I think he's in like the first season, and then he comes back in the later seasons, and he had like a family.
No, Felipe. So, and that's only one episode, so no, probably wasn't him.
Yeah.
Okay. It wasn't in Breaking Bad. I thought he might have been in that. But isn't the Fast and Furious movies, Training Day? Oh, look, I actually could be here all day. Like, he hasn't, like, he's been around for 25 years, which I suppose is a long time. But yeah, he seems to get constant work, so good for him. No, it's just interesting, just seeing a background character like that. I'm like, oh, he looks kind of familiar. I can't think of anything I've seen him in specifically. So I have seen shows that he has been in. So, but he's just always just plays a thug. Which is ironic because apparently he likes to go to schools and like tell kids, to stay in school and not get in trouble and stuff. So
Okay.
it was in a movie with John Travolta and Bruce Willis that came out recently, Paradise City, 3.7 star rating.
Oh, that sounds like a
It's
real bad one.
It's probably one of Bruce Willis's last films where he's like just having to just sort of stand there and nod.
Where he phones it in.
Yeah. Well, Stephen Dorff was in it too. That's pretty much a rabbit hole. Not really much of a rabbit hole, but yeah, that'll do.
Okay. All right, let's get into question time.
Okay.
Excuse me. I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Okay, Jared. Which character was your favourite?
Well, I like the trio, to be honest.
Yeah?
Like, I'm just going to say the trio.
You just liked their little bantering...
Yeah, I think they were the ones that were sort of the best, got the most screen time. I mean, it's hard to pick up one in particular because they kind of shared it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the trio, yeah.
You know what? I'm going to give it to Buffy for this one. You don't get many episodes... I very rarely put Buffy as the favourite of the episode. But yeah, this one, she's pretty front and centre. And she really gets put through it. So
Poor girl.
but she outsmarts them at the end of the day. So she was quick to get the time lint thing off her, and she was quick to work out the time loop. Like she didn't spend thousands of years in the time loop. Her personality and problem solving skills really shine through, and her strength, because she beat those demons very quickly in the
she did,
construction site. So her problem solving skills really shines in this. Yep. All right, Jared. And which character do you love to hate in this episode?
Anya just really gave me the shits with that scene.
Yeah. I actually have Anya.
Bitch, like her first day, cut her a break.
Yeah.
God.
Yes.
Dock it from your pay. Fucking this from your pay. Holding my finger up.
Yeah. That's illegal. You're not allowed to do that.
Whether it's legal or not, like, fuck, regardless.
Kind of a dick move as well. Bit of a dick move.
And Giles kind of supported it too. He's like, oh, well, yes, like, I suppose.
Yeah. I think he was just trying not to cause a fight with Anya.
he's
technically,
scared of her, that's
technically, he's not in charge of the magic box anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
She is.
Wow.
So he's owner, not manager. Like she is.
She's running the show now.
Yeah, she is running the show. It is her shop. All right. LOL moment.
The Buffy gagging thing got pretty funny. Like rewatching it again, I was actually laughing at it more. Like her just that. I kind of silly at the start.
I actually think it's funnier when it's off screen, like when they're playing kitten poker and all you hear in the background is.
It's one of those repeating jokes where it's not really funny the last time, and then it's sort of annoying, and then it gets funnier again.
Yeah. I actually really love the fact that the James Bond argument goes on for like about 5 scenes too long. For the same reason. And then you have one of them going, no, come on, guys, but like we've got to get serious. Like we're in the middle of this test. And then goes, and of course, you're all wrong.
Yeah. Couldn't let it. He couldn't let it
He
go.
couldn't let it go.
Yeah.
And of course, Pierce Brosnan is the best.
All right. Which one out of the three do you think's the best? Timothy Dalton, Sean Connery, and Roger Moore.
I'm going to go Timothy Dalton.
Really?
I don't like Sean Connery and I don't like Roger Moore.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Funny, my mum couldn't stand Timothy Dalton. Oh, he's too ugly. He's so ugly.
No, Pierce Brosnan is the best.
Okay.
You know, come on, the helicopter with frickin' chainsaws attached.
Yeah.
And that is to have sharks with frickin' laser beams attached to their heads.
All right, favorite fight scene. We didn't get too many fight
No,
scenes.
there's only really a
in
couple
this.
of fight scenes, but I think the Buffy versus the false demon was probably the better fight scene.
Yeah.
With the drunken master kick she
drunk
did.
master kick.
I think
Yeah,
she
look-
swung a fresh area at first, didn't she? And then fell over, and then
Oh, look, this was mostly psychological warfare that they were going with. So, I kind of went with the drunk kick.
yeah.
Favorite scene.
Well, it's the Groundhog Day scenes, I reckon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any particular round in the
There's like a couple little short clips. I think she grabs Joel's glasses and just smashes them.
Yes.
I think she throws a lady out the door, and then she just comes back in.
Yes.
Then I think there's one where she's just staring at the hand, and I think it's got tongs, and it's snapping at her.
Yep.
So it's just this whole series of those scenes. So yeah, they're all pretty good. I like that. Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna go with Spike and Buffy playing kitten poker. I think it's all the scenes with drunk Buffy.
We didn't see that coming. They use kittens as currency. How does that work? What if you owe me half a kitten?
Well, they eat them. That's the point.
Yeah, but Spike doesn't.
Well, yes, he does.
Well, he
He-
drinks their blood.
He'd drink their blood.
Oh, would he? Wouldn't get much out of a kitten, though.
Well, apparently they're delicious.
Oh, well, okay. All right. They're a treat.
They're a little treat. It's like eating a little chocolate.
So soft. So small.
Smart. So small.
So soft, so strong.
All right. What is your least favorite scene?
Maybe the ending. The final scene at the end. It's like everything's so high-paced and high-charged throughout the whole episode, and I know you got to wind down a little bit, but I kind of felt like it could have just ended with the trio saying, we can take Buffy. And rewatching it again, I actually thought that was where it's going to end. And I forgot, we've got this little part at the end where it kind of just dragged on for a little bit. I mean, it was
I think Daddy,
important to the story.
It was that thing. Daddy Giles had to come in and actually save the day.
Yeah,
so
I think they had to have their moment together and all that. They probably could have done that in maybe an earlier scene to end the episode, like having the trio like saying, "Yeah, we did it," and I reckon it could have like ended there and maybe have that scene earlier. I don't know. That's just me.
Okay.
Sorry, it's more of a pacing issue, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I like having that kind of little end. It's a conclusion scene. Like, I think you kind of needed that because of the way that the episode was structured. You do actually need the little conclusion at the end
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
to kind of wrap up like all the loose threads, so to speak. Okay, favorite quote.
From Warren, Jonathan, grab your Why do I keep saying monkey bone?
Because there's a movie called Monkey Bone.
Oh, that's what it's Jonathan, grab your magic bone. Yeah, that's a quotable line.
I'm going to go with my favorite quote, and it's actually my favorite scene
Go
using
on.
this quote. Tonight sucks, and look at me, look at stupid Buffy, too dumb for college, and freak Buffy, too strong for construction work, and my job at the magic shop. I was bored to tears even before the hour that wouldn't end, and the only person that I can even stand to be around is a neutered vampire who cheats at kitten poker.
Giles, make us stop.
Yes.
Nice.
Nice.
And didn't she call him a drunk or something?
And then she goes, "You're drunk." And you're drunk. That's after he said, "Oh, you saw me cheating, did you?"
I think it's fair that they were all cheating. It was even.
It was one of those things, all of them were cheating.
If you get caught, it just means you're a bad cheater.
Yes. All right. Who gets the wooden spoon?
I gave the wooden spoon to the Vince, the guy wearing his construction hat back to front. Absolute 0 for him.
Well, I give it to Spike for cheating at kitten poker. And it's not cool that you're eating kittens. And you're also a bad cheater. And you're drunk. Who's the MVP of the episode?
I always resist going Buffy, so I wrote down Spike, but I'm going to change it. It is Buffy.
It's Buffy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely her.
You know, she figures out all the tests, you know. She saves herself. And her friends don't really help her in this one at all.
No. Maybe, yeah, they should have got the wooden spoon.
And what do you rate this episode out of 10?
I gave it... Oh, it's a real good fun episode. So I gave it a solid 8 second Death Star murals.
You want to know something really funny?
Did you do that too?
That's I went 8 out of 10 Death Star murals from the Empire's revised designs from Return of the Jedi.
Well, it is its second Death Star, though. I didn't understand what he meant by that, by the revised...
Because the ports or something were different.
Yeah, but like it obviously was the second Death Star.
Yeah.
So it is the one from the Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
So I don't know why he said it's the revised one from Return of the Jedi. I don't know why he said that for.
Because isn't that... Well, I think there were revised designs on that. Wasn't the same
No,
Death
it wasn't.
Star.
It was bigger. Yeah, it's a different Death Star.
I don't know.
No, I just found it was weird. But that is so cool.
Why are you yelling at me about Star Wars?
All right. But anyway, that is so fantastic that we gave the same rating with the same object from the episode. So I think that deserves a round of applause for us. I don't think that's ever happened before, has it? Same rating and same object? I don't know.
No.
I have to go re-listen to the episodes to find out at some stage.
Re-listen to all of them.
Yeah.
Might take a while now.
All right. Well, I think that's it. Anything you wanted to add in, Eddie? I think we'll wrap this up.
I think, yeah, we can
wrap it up.
we can wrap it up.
All right. And Buffy next week again? I'm going to plow through some, aren't we?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I hope you've enjoyed listening to us tonight. We are Nerd Subculture. My name is Jared.
I'm Edwina.
And if you love what you're listening to, well, Eddie's got some advice for you. Eddie, what are you going to tell our audiences?
Well, you know what? You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, X, and there is a Facebook page. If you want to help...
If anyone goes on Facebook anymore?
I don't think anyone goes on X anymore. If you want to help out the podcast, please follow the link tree in the socials for our merch store.
All right. Yep. All that. Till next time, take care. See ya. Bye.
Goodbye.
Ugh.